Right, so it's coming into autumn now, and the verbenas are starting to grow a secondary lot of shoots. So now is a prime time to take cuttings of them. I'm going to be taking a few cuttings today. There wasn't too many new shoots on mine, so I've only got two just to show as examples, two cuttings to show as examples. But the autumn is always, like the beginning of the autumn, early autumn is a good time to take cuttings because they get their roots established before the winter, and then you leave them in a cold frame or a greenhouse over winter, and then they'll shoot up nice and quick in the spring. So I'm going to be showing you quickly how I'm going to be preparing my cuttings, and briefly what cutting material is appropriate.
Right, so when looking for appropriate cutting material, you're going to want to go for stuff that doesn't have flower buds on. So like this side shoot here, you can see that there's no buds that are sticking out the top, and it's got a few nodes. So that'll make perfect cutting material, and that's what I'm going to be showing you today. Also, my greenhouse is absolutely full of these giant spiders. They're just general garden spiders, but they are everywhere.
Right, so the compost mix I'm going to be using is just regular potting compost, so multi-purpose, mixed with quite a lot of perlite. That is just to improve drainage and make sure they're not sitting in soggy conditions. So that is briefly that, and here are the selected cuttings that I've taken. There was only a couple, and because of where my verbena are, it's very hard to like access the area, so I've just got two for now, and I'm going to be using these little pots to put them in. Right, so for this I recommend using a sharp knife. You're going to grab your cutting material and select however many nodes you want. I'm going to be cutting through this second node here, so this is the part that was attached to the stem. I'm going to be firstly cutting off these lower leaves, just so they're out of the way and so they don't decompose under the soil. And then through that node I'm going to cut straight through it at an angle. There we are. So the reason I'm cutting through the node is because that's where a higher concentration of meristematic tissue is, and that is the tissue that can either turn into roots or shoots. That is accessed in the stem as well, but there's a higher concentration in the node, so that's why I'm going through the node. And then I'm going to be cutting just through some of the foliage, leaving this here. So you've still got the growing shoot there, and that is going to be going into, I'm just going to pop it in the center. Sometimes they recommend putting them around the edges, but for experience I haven't noticed that makes too much of a difference. So there we are, and that is the cutting, and then I'll give it water once it's finished. But let's quickly do this one as well whilst we're here. So I'm going to be cutting through these lower leaves, getting as close to the stem as possible, and then through this middle node here. There we are. And you're going to want to do this as quick as possible after cutting them off of the plants, because they are going to wilt quite quickly. So straight into the soil there, and then I'm going to give them a water. Now these aren't going to be ready until the spring. They'll start rooting after a couple of weeks, but these are next year's plans. So make the most of the cutting material now whilst it's there, and then you can quite easily double the amount of plants you have for the following summer. So if this has been helpful, please leave a comment down below or a like, anything like that, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.